Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving straight into the exhausting reality of dealing with, well, toxic, draining people. You know the ones. We're going to look at some incredible insights on how to actually protect your energy when people try to drag you into their chaos. I mean, if you've ever felt like you needed a solid 3-hour nap after just a 5-minute conversation with someone, yeah, this is for you. Let's get into it.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever wasted your intellect, your precious time, trying to logically explain yourself to someone who is literally committed to misunderstanding you? We have all been there, right? You think, hey, if I just use logic, I can fix this. But the truth is, you're just stepping onto their battlefield. They don't want your clarity. They want your noise. And establishing that core problem right now, it's going to change how you handle every single conflict from here on out.
Section 1. The trap of explaining, and why truth isn't always the answer. So there's this brutal mistake that highly intelligent people make all the time, and that's believing every foolish person actually deserves a full, detailed explanation. We kind of trick ourselves into thinking they're just confused because the truth is hidden from them. But the reality? They're confused because that confusion protects their ego. It's like the old saying, you can bring a lamp into a dark room, but you cannot force a blind man to open his eyes. If you just stand there holding the lamp, begging them to see the light, you aren't being wise anymore. You're just wasting your own fire.
It really boils down to a massive dichotomy between the two players in these toxic interactions. On one hand, you've got the trained mind, which is what we're aiming for here, right? Seeking clarity, protecting your peace, centering yourself. On the other hand, you have the weak mind. These are the folks who feel a desperate need to defeat everyone. They want a reaction. They turn simple truth into messy drama because honestly, the drama makes them feel important. And when they can't rise to your level of clarity, they will absolutely try to drag you down into their noise.
So we really need to reframe what it actually means to win an argument. Winning isn't about making the best point or hitting the nail on the head. Winning is simply knowing which people are not worth the cost of your peace. Your intelligence? It's not proven by how many verbal points you score or how perfectly you lay out your facts. Your intelligence is proven by how much of your inner peace you successfully protect. Period.
Section 2. Discernment over judgment and protecting your boundaries.
The really crucial thing to grasp here is the difference between these two mentalities. Judgment says, I'm better than you. That comes purely from ego. Discernment, however, says, this path is going to waste my life, and that comes purely from clarity. A trained mind doesn't ask, how do I make this person see my point? Actually, it asks, is this person even capable of seeing? It's a massive, massive shift in how you allocate your energy.
Think about this for a second. A diamond does not beg a stone to understand its shine. Just let that sink in. You have to destroy that hidden weakness inside you that still needs applause and validation from people who don't even respect the truth. You absolutely do not need to explain your movement to a brick wall.
Moving on to Section 3. Studying patterns, not promises. Watching the fruit.
Listen, if someone repeatedly misunderstands you in a way that conveniently benefits them, that is not a misunderstanding. If they act completely shocked when you enforce a boundary, or if they create total chaos and then turn around and call you too sensitive, you've got to recognize what that is. That isn't innocent confusion. It's manipulation, fully dressed up as innocence. Because a pattern is just the truth repeated over time. We have to stop being so impressed by people's words and start respecting the actual evidence of their actions.
Now, here is a super practical way to categorize and manage your responses based on who is actually standing in front of you. Your response has to match reality. If you're dealing with a sincere beginner, be gentle, but an arrogant fool, be brief. A manipulator, give them silence and distance. And for the repeated offender, your absolute best response is simply to be unavailable. Remember, access to you is earned. It's not a public charity.
Section 4. The power of restraint and strength under command.
We really need to redefine what restraint means, because honestly, any insecure person can shout or argue a point for 20 minutes, but to feel the heat rise inside you, to hear the disrespect, and still consciously choose your response, that is the ultimate form of mastery. Restraint is strength under command. It is definitely not passivity, and it's certainly not weakness.
Look at it this way. If you stay silent because you're afraid, your body acts like a trap. It just stores all that resentment. That's suppression. But if you stay silent because you are crystal clear on your boundaries, your body stores peace. That's mastery.
Real wisdom isn't just weakness wearing white clothes. Real wisdom has the absolute power to say no, to cut off access, and to just leave without ever having to become cruel.
And when you refuse to engage, your silence acts as a mirror. It shows people exactly what they are. You aren't handing over your precious energy to cover up their chaos. You're just reflecting it right back at them.
Section 5. Confronting your own foolishness and turning the lens inward.
Now, there's a really subtle trap we can all fall into here. It's secretly enjoying being surrounded by foolish people just because it lets you feel special and powerful without having to do any of the deep inner work yourself. You might complain about stupidity, but you choose environments where it's the norm. But if you're truly intelligent, you don't stand beside a broken wall and call yourself tall. You build something, you heal something. So you have to genuinely ask yourself a few tough questions. Where are you being foolish? Where do you argue when you know you should just leave? Where do you keep giving chances despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary? And where exactly do you use your own high intelligence to justify your fear of setting a hard boundary? The foolish person might have knocked on your door, sure, but you have to study the wound and the pride inside you that actually opened it and let them in. 30. That's the number of minutes you might spend throwing your mind into the absolute pit of an argument, and then walking away calling it a victory. But it's not a victory. Most people don't lose their lives in one dramatic failure. They lose it in small, daily surrenders of their attention. Small leaks sink large ships, right? If you spend 30 minutes reacting to absolute nonsense, you are letting their weather become your inner climate.
To prevent that, all this knowledge has to actually reach your nervous system. So the very next time you're provoked, try this. Relax your jaw, lower your shoulders, let your breath drop deep into your body, and choose a slow, controlled response. Rushing is exactly how foolishness grabs the steering wheel of your life. You really have to train yourself until calm becomes a literal, physical response before you ever rush to argue again.
Ultimately, you have to realize that you're paying for nonsense with pieces of your own destiny. Every single hour you spend in emotional chaos is an hour stolen from your craft, from your peace, and from your future. You are literally trading the person you could become just to prove a point to someone who is fully committed to misunderstanding you. Selecting your battles isn't arrogance, it's an act of survival.
So I want to leave you to completely reevaluate how you'll respond to your very next conflict. A disciplined person always stops and asks, does this moment deserve the price of my breath? Think about that the next time you're tempted to explain yourself. Protect your peace and keep your focus on what actually matters.